In 2024, Syria faces a pivotal moment in its history. After 13 years of war, staggering losses, and untold suffering, the country is at a crossroads. The fall of President Bashar al-Assad has reshaped the landscape of the conflict, but the scars left behind remain deep. Bashar al-Assad ruled Syria for over 2 decades, surviving a civil war that devastated the nation. But 2024 marks the end of his era. What led to his fall, and how does it connect to the massive losses Syria has endured? The story begins in 2011 when peaceful protests against Assad's government erupted as part of the Arab Spring. Those protests were met with violent crackdowns, plunging Syria into a brutal civil war. Under Assad, the war's financial toll was staggering. Over $1.2 trillion in economic losses, $200 billion in destroyed infrastructure, and a GDP collapse of over 60%. By the time Assad's grip on power began to loosen, Syria was economically shattered. The human cost was just as catastrophic. Over 500,000 lives lost and 12 million Syrians displaced, half the country's population. Assad's policies, including the relentless bombing of civilian areas, were a major driver of these tragedies. In 2023, cracks in Assad's regime began to show. International sanctions, an economic collapse, and growing dissent, both domestically and within his own government, set the stage for his downfall. By early 2024, large-scale protests erupted once again, fueled by worsening poverty and the collapse of public services. This time, Assad lacked the resources and allies to maintain control. Russia and Iran, Assad's key backers, began to distance themselves as their own priorities shifted. The international community, too, increased pressure, with new sanctions and diplomatic efforts to end his rule. In a dramatic turn of events, Assad was forced to step down in December 2024, marking the end of an era. For many Syrians, the fall of Bashar al-Assad brought a sense of hope, but it also left a power vacuum that threatens to deepen the country's instability. The journey to recovery is far from over. Syria's challenges remain immense. Over 90% of the population lives below the poverty line, and the cost of rebuilding is estimated at $250 to $400 billion. Even with Assad gone, the scars of his rule and the war he presided over will take decades to heal. As Syria begins to chart a new course, the question remains, will this be the start of true recovery, or another chapter in a long history of struggle?